Good morning! Welcome, one and all, to Apollo Justice, Ace Attorney. We're gonna try and do this again. A little low? Am I low? Ooh. The mic is up high enough. Just bring the mic closer? Maybe that'll help. Does that help? Gonna close the window over. Because it is 1 a.m. in the morning. I'm really hoping this works. Because we have put we have put Danganronpa behind us for now. And we are stepping back into a court of law. One helmed by ace attorneys and prosecutors and spirit mediums and the like. So fun fact, this is the only Ace Attorney game I have not actually played. I started this series on the 5th one. I went 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. Great Ace Attorney. So I don't know what to expect on this. Like, I know we get introduced to a few characters who were critical to the franchise in this game. Did I? Oh, well, hold on. Let me make sure those are reinstalled, because I still have those. New characters. New prosecutors. New cases. New clues. New music. I think it's time. Welcome to Apollo Justice, Ace Attorney. Now, the fun part for me is going to be trying to work out what kind of voices to give these characters. Oh, okay. Interesting warnings at the start. I'm gonna save them just to have a better read of them. Woohoo! Hello, Remy! Now that's nice! You're just on time! Dun, 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 dun. Well, okay. So we are, of course, playing via the HD trilogy. So we have Apollo Justice Ace Attorney, Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney Dual Destinies, the game I started this franchise with, and thus it's my favorite because bias. Then, Spirit of Justice. When the series went full anime. And the name puns. The puns for all the names got stupider and stupider. Well, we wouldn't want spoilers, so we're gonna ignore that. We'll check out the museum later. Alright, let's go. Episode 1, Turnabout Trump. Ooh. Showdown time. Oh? Something like dead. Someone hit him. Hard. Me? Please. The cops should be here any minute. I'm in your hands. Should it come to that. Ooh. That should... April 20th. Oh, a month away. 9:30. We should I have waited till my birthday to play this game? And we could have just played overnight. Also, that is a nice painting of the judge. Can we that is a nice painting of the judge. Got quite the distinguished schnoz on him, eh? So, alright. April 20th, 9:37 a.m. District Court. Defendant Lobby. Number 3. Panicked. Palms sweaty. Knees weak. Arms are heavy. I can admit it. I'm nervous. Good morning. Good morning, sir. You look tense, Justice. Wound up tight. Wound up, sir? No, I'm loose. I'm fine. I'm fine. The screeching noise. Is that your voice? I suppose it's to be expected. Your first trial, and it's a homicide. I guess justice doesn't start small, eh? I'm fine! I got up at 5 a.m. to do my Chords of Steel voice workout. I'm fine! Ah, that explains it. I did detect a certain rasping quality to your screech. I overdid it again. As you know, your client today is a good friend of mine. I wouldn't want to let him down, if you get my drift. Drift gotten, sir! I'm all over that drift! As it happens, I dined with him the night of the murder. We can't let this case fall through. Yes! Yes! I'm fine, sir! One more thing. Don't say you're fine quite so much. People might take you the wrong way. I'll be preparing our case. Kristoff definitely using that got-to-be glue. Hold that curl in place. Judge out here looking like Confucius when we all know his middle name is Confusion. Good one. You might want to introduce yourself to the client. My name is Apollo Justice. If it isn't clear already, I'm a new attorney. And today is my first trial. Not that I'm worried or anything. The defendant has been accused of murder. My boss wants to help him out, of course, and so do I. I mean, there's no way he did it. Not him. No way. Oh, we're playing the pronoun game. Beanie? Whoa! Good, morning. Morning. It's all up to you today. The first trial. Nervous. Meeting him. Cardiac arrest. I think I'm supposed to say something. Help? So, you're... Fine! I'm fine! Ah, Mr. Fine, is it? I did remember you having an odd name. Well, we're off to a great start. Are you sure you're okay? I mean, with me? Mr. Gavin is a top-notch defense attorney. And he's your friend. So why? You'll see. Huh? You can do it. Be confident. I can't believe Meekins became an ace attorney. Good for him. Oh no, Remy, this is not my Meekins voice. This is not my Meekins voice. I am forbidden from doing my Meekins voice. Forbidden. I'm really sorry this happened to you. I mean, It's time. Shall we? 5. Girls gotta eat. Yes, sir. Okay, I need to focus. First trial. Here comes justice. April 20th, 10 a.m. District Court, Courtroom number 2. What the What of all the stupid hairstyles was that? Okay. Judge has horns now. Right. The court is now in session. Welcome back, Judge Achino.
The prosecution is ready, Your Honor.
The defense is, fine. I mean, ready, Your Honor. Mind going blank. Don't panic. Back. Too late. Five-second delay? Look, I'll reset the Elgato just to be on the safe side. Your name was Mr. Justice? And this is your first trial? Yes, Your Honor. But I'm fine. Really? Are you quite sure? Oh, your voice sounds a bit strained. Mr. Gavin. Yes, Your Honor. I was under the oh, wait, no. Okay. I'm just keeping an eye on it here as well, so. I was under the impression that you would be heading up this case. That was my intention, yes. However, a defense attorney must always see to his client's wishes. And my client specifically requested Mr. Justice. Well, of course he wants justice. But to entrust his case to this greenhorn... Why... I do not exaggerate when I say that you're the best defense attorney in town, Mr. Gavin. Okay, so Gavin's got trial experience. Fine, but does he have cords of steel? Then let's begin. The defendant may enter the courtroom. This is truly an unfortunate turn of events. I'm sorry we had to meet again under these circumstances. Long time no see, Mr. Wright. Let's put the past behind us, shall we? These days I'm merely Phoenix Wright, piano player. Mr. Wright, how could this have happened? I won't speak of it further then. Why does Judge sound like he took one too many sleeping pills? Okay, so this goes back to the original trilogy. Um, when I was trying to come up with a voice for Judge, the way Judge was written originally was very stupid and bored, my interpretation. So we had just come off playing a game called oh god, the 100 Night. And awful game, by the way. Great start, great comedy, ending really really hurts the game. Witch and the 100 Night, that's the one. There's a character in that game called Arlecchino, who is the titular witch's like butler. And his voice was just so very, yes, I see. If that's what Madame wants. And I took that and applied it to Judge for the main timeline. And it's just kind of our voice for him. So that is kind of an in thing that runs back to the original trilogy playthrough. So I hope that helps. I hope that helps. I don't know what else to say. So I won't speak of it further then. If the prosecution would be so kind as to explain the charges. Mr. Payne.
To think I saw you enter this room a fresh attorney! And now I'll see you leave in chains.
Ah, Winston Payne. Subtle as ever, I see.
Ahem!
He looks like Ouchie from the Great Ace Attorney. Now, I know they're related, right? I know. That's how generations work. But his hair looks like Ouchie's. Right? The kind of long bit and then just a little growth on the front of the forehead. He looks like the top knot was cut off. Yeah.
The crime occurred at the Borscht Bowl Club, a Russian restaurant. The defendant, Phoenix Wright, took the victim, a customer, and he hit him, wham, on the head, smack, killed him cold.
A customer at a restaurant, you say? And a defendant. And the defendant. You say he was...
The pianist for the club, it seems.
Phoenix Wright. A pianist?
This is the weapon that took the victim's life. A bottle of grape juice. Grape juice is apparently our defendant's drink of choice.
The court accepts the deadly bottle as evidence. Phoenix Wright, yeah! Something to note, Justice? All evidence is filed in the court record. Make a practice of checking it frequently.
Meg!
Don't be bold.
The court record! Right! I've heard of that.
Use OR to look at the evidence so far. The time of death was around 2 AM, April 17th. Death caused by single blow to forehead. The oh, okay. The sub-basement at the Borscht Bowl Club. Grape juice bottle used as the murder weapon. Bears the defendant, Mr. Wright's prints. Boss at Gavin Law Offices. A first-rate defense attorney and my trusted mentor. Phoenix is 33 in this game. Oh god, he's getting old. Formerly an ace defense attorney of some renown. Shady Smith. Or is it Shoddy? Either way, I think that's the joke, right? Winston Payne. I'm confident in your ability to handle this.
Right! Just use OR. Sounds like it's time for some hands-on action.
So the victim was a customer at this restaurant. But just who was this, Shady Smith fellow?
We believe he was a traveler, Your Honor.
A traveler?
According to his passport, he had been out of the country for a number of years. He had only returned to this country recently, though his place of residence is unclear.
And he had some sort of connection with the defendant?
That, too, is unclear at present, Your Honor. We believe they first met at the Borscht Bowl Club on the night of the crime.
If they had only just met, then why murder? Perhaps the victim slighted the defendant's piano playing?
That doesn't appear to have been the case. No, the motive had nothing to do with the defendant's lack of playing skill. At least not piano playing. Yeah, I'll let this photo explain what I mean. As we can see, a game of poker was in progress at the scene of the crime.
Wait a second. Isn't poker gambling? That's a crime in and of itself.
Indeed. It appears our defendant has fallen to become the basest sort of criminal.
It is true that the defendant was engaged in a game of poker with the victim. Yet it was only that. A game. In the purest sense. A competition, Your Honor.
Competition?
Yes. A test of wits. Silent clash of passions. Only the cards, their backs wreathe in blue flame, know its final outcome. Come again.
The cards on the table had blue backs, Your Honor. I believe the defense was waxing poetic in an attempt to mystify those present. And impress women.
That will be our first order of business here, then. To find out more about this fatal game of cards. Aw, his beanie says Papa. Very well, defendant. And he really looked at Kristoff and thinks he's into women? How bold. You will testify to the court about the poker competition held on the night of the crime. My pleasure.
This is it! My first trial! Here goes nothing!
The competition. I'm a pianist by trade, yet I can hardly play at all. My real job is to take on interested customers over at the poker table. The room where we play and the competition in there are the club's main attractions. The rules are simple. We play a game of poker using 2 decks of cards. That's all it is. A game. And our customers are happy. Right. A pianist who can't play piano.
Better than a defense attorney who can't defend!
Very well. The defense may begin the cross-examination.
Right, Your Honor.
Okay. Here we go.
My first cross-examination. Don't blow it. Rinka! Thank you so much.
Rinka just subscribed with Prime.
34 months! Yowie, wowie, that's a lot of numbers. Yeah, nearly 3 years. Yeah, what, 2 more of those? So, by May? Oh, you alright? You're sweating bullets.
Bullets? Where?
It's a figure of speech, Justice. Your voice sounds strained and raspy, too.
My brain feels strained and raspy, sir.
You've watched me perform cross-examinations many times. Though you've never done one yourself, have you? Care for a refresher?
What to do? Should I ask Mr. Gavin for a refresher course in cross-examination? No, we're good. No need for help here, sir. I've got this one covered.
I think you'd better do more than think. You know it, or you do not.
I'm fine. The cords of steel are ready for battle. My weapons, press, and present.
Find any inconsistencies, any lies in the testimony, and reveal them to the court. That is cross-examination. Learn it, know it, do it.
Inconsistencies? Lies? Phoenix, right? As if. Phoenix Wright would never lie, and it's up to me to prove it.
The defense may begin the cross-examination. Damn. I'm a pianist by trade, yet I can hardly play at all. My real job is to take on interested customers over at the poker table. So if it's just competition and there's no gambling or stakes, what would they be interested in?
Do they pay you just to play poker?
Well, that would seem to be the case. I am a professional after all.
Do I detect pride in that statement? It's just hard for an honest, hard-working member of society like me to imagine.
I hate you so much. Yes. Your imagination was always a bit limited, Winston.
Well, what?
I've played poker for 7 years in that little room. And I've never lost one.
What?
You see why the customers come now? Defeat the undefeated poker champion. It's quite a draw. That is, I'm quite a draw.
Wait, you've never lost once? Not even one time?
As I said, I'm a professional.
He's played poker for 7 years and not lost once. Is that even possible?
Okay, so we just press everything and hope for the best? The room where we play and the competition in there are the club's main attractions.
The room in the crime scene photo is an attraction?
It has quite a history, actually. The Borscht Bowl Club used to be a gathering spot for black market types back in the day.
The black market?
All in the past. Things like the black market are only on the silver screen nowadays. Suffice it to say that there were a lot of deals being made under the table. Right there in that room. A smoky room, gambling hoods. You know, just looking at this picture makes me feel bad. The bosses gather around the table, cutting deals, safe from the eyes of the law. Meanwhile, a goon keeps watch through a small window. I can practically picture it now. That window...
The window does look like it would be good for keeping a lookout, but little else.
The room had a few other tricks to it. Though, it was common knowledge to our regulars. At any rate, they come to play poker in a room steeped in history. Despite the dark past, it was all just good, clean fun. The rules are simple. We play a game of poker using 2 decks of cards.
2 decks of cards?
A simple measure to prevent cheating. If you alternate 2 decks, no one can slip in cards. Well, there's something else I've noticed. In addition to the cards on the table, there are some lying scattered on the floor. Precisely. Cards on the table, cards upon the floor. Each one forming a complete deck. A crime scene painted blue by a sad sweep of cards. It's poetic, really. Incidentally, we used 2 types of cards at the club. One deck of cards was red, the other blue. Red versus blue. I used to love that. Is it still on? Sorry. As I recall, in poker you make 5-card hands. I can see how it would be easy to cheat. Yes, a game of hands. Huh? This competition you're talking about. I believe the court understands the nature of the game sufficiently.
That's right. It was a simple game after all.
Are you sure?
Oh.
Sorry. Just making sure I'm hydrated, because, ooh. Jumping right back into all the voice work. Oh, my throat's gonna be raw tomorrow. Are you sure?
Huh?
People are not murdered over simple games, Mr. Justice. Defendant, you were in the room the very moment that the crime occurred. Yet, you claim no connection to the crime? Now that's strange. What's strange? I was testifying about the competition that night. Asking me about the crime at this point is against the rules, Your Honor. Of course, I expected to hear a cry of
Objection!
from the defense.
I completely let that one slip by.
Don't despair yet, Justice.
Sir?
Right. There's something I'd like made clear. Namely, your connection to the case at hand. And I'd like to hear it from you. Sure. Why not? Very well. The defendant will amend his testimony.
Just one little press. And I've got myself a whole new testimony. Okay. I pled silence regarding the murder, but I will say I never touched the murder weapon. Well, we know that's wrong. The murder weapon has Phoenix's prints on it, so... Present?
Objection!
Opening objection awarded. Nice. Wow, achievements. And that'll be fun.
So, you say you didn't touch the murder weapon? This grape juice bottle? Right?
So I said. Something the matter, Mr. Justice?
Too bad our new defense attorney never learned how to play dumb.
Oh, what's this, Mr. Payne?
I examined the bottle in question, you see. And it was covered with the defendant's fingerprints. Objection!
No need to shout, Mr. Justice. I can hear you just fine. Excess yelling can damage the judge's ears and our case.
But what about my cords of steel? Anyway, what's so strange about fingerprints on a bottle in a restaurant?
Hey, Meg, welcome back. Well, that's true.
Oh, they wouldn't prove a thing if they were normal footprints. Huh? But the fingerprints on the murder weapon were upside down.
Upside down? What does that mean?
It means he was holding the bottle inverted. And there can be only one reason for that. Yes! To brain someone with the bottle. Mr. Gavin, I think things just took a turn for the worse.
Maybe he just drinks it weird, Winston. You don't know. Phoenix is the kind of person to just put his head under the whiskey bottles in a bar and just pull the lever for himself, is it? Oh, I see no problem, Justice.
Huh?
The only thing that matters is the truth. There's a good reason for everything. You'll see. Defendant, can you explain your fingerprints on this bottle to the court? It wasn't me. I stand by my plea of silence regarding the murder. For now. Not very cooperative, are you? This could hurt your case.
I'm sure he's uncooperative because he's hiding something. There must be some reason.
Objection!
Your Honor, you seem to have forgotten something. And what might that be, Mr. Gavin? On the night of the crime, who was it who reported the murder to the police? Reported?
Well, that was the defendant, Mr. Wright. But still, that...
Really?
Yes, well, according to the case file, the murder was reported from near the scene by a call from the defendant's cell phone.
Near?
Near the scene? Let's take a look at the diagram of the murder scene, shall we? The victim was murdered in a small room in a basement 2 floors down from ground level. Of course, cell phones can't get reception so far down. The defendant used the stairs in this hallway to go above ground. The call came from the first floor of the restaurant.
We're not allowed to take the text boxes away. Rude. Ah, cool. Why is that off by default?
The call came from the first floor of the restaurant.
I see. And this is the phone that made the call? Right cell phone. The defendant could have just fled the scene of the crime if he so chose. Yet, he fulfilled his duty as a citizen and reported it to the authorities. And you claim he is being uncooperative.
Nice save, Mr. Gavin. I'd better not waste this.
I think the prosecution has toyed with our client enough for the time being.
Toyed! I assure you no one is more serious about.
What was it you said?
The defendant?
The defendant was in the room the very moment the crime occurred. How can you possibly know this? That's a good question. Yes. How indeed. The answer is simple, Your Honor. The prosecution has a decisive witness.
You're as good as they say you are.
So,
Someone else was in the room the night of the crime? That must mean they witnessed the crime.
everything up till now has just been a warm-up, Justice. Are you ready? Very well. The prosecution may call its first witness to the stand. Oh. Hello.
The witness will state her name and profession.
Hold on just a moment. Judge, are you gonna start simping for the pretty girls again? Where's the witness?
I surmise that she has been frightened by the defense's demonic-looking horns.
So I used a little hair gel. Relax, people. Have no fear. If any horns point in your direction, this court will cut them off. No, I will... I'll have my revenge on Pain.
You are sure?
I swear it on my gavel. Please come out.
Isn't violence against hair a crime, Your Honor?
Judge better not start simping or he's gonna get his horn cut off. Wunderbar.
Well, if you are sure it is okay.
Ahem. What the? Wait a minute. Would the prosecution care to explain the witness's, the paraphernalia? Paraphernalia?
Yes. She's a professional, Your Honor. Those are merely the tools of her trade.
And that would be...
My name is Olga O'Reilly.
Yeah, the original game came out when that meme was a thing. Forgot about that. I forgot about the O'Reilly meme. Okay. Okay, Ace Attorney. Okay. Will it make you feel old if I ask what the meme was? Yes. Yes, it will. I was at the dawn of the internet, at the dawn of the memes. So I was there at the beginning and I shall be there at its end. The Alpha and the Omega. I mean, I've got the Omega right in my eyes. Anyway.
My name is Olga O'Reilly. I am employed as waitress in Borscht Bowl Club restaurant.
Then why the camera?
Of course, it is my pride to serve borscht that is naming restaurant. But they also perform, how it is said, other service.
I take it one of these other services is taking the customers' pictures.
Da! Like, for example, this one.
That's the defendant.
Indeed. On the night of the murder. Man in white hat,
is one who has gone kaput. Indeed. That is the victim. Order, order. This is quite the piece of evidence to casually drop into our laps. It is the same way as I drop cold bowls of borscht on laps of customers. Casually. And then the court will casually accept this new evidence. Olga's photo added to court record.
Now, witness, where were you at the time of the murder?
I was in room. The hideout, we call it. Excuse me? The hideout? It is room where famous gangster bad guy was arrested. Was he a bad guy or was he a bad guy? Because there is a difference there. Bad guy Namco? Is a room where murder took place. What? Your look of utter surprise. It is lovely. I will post my courtroom door later for you. Photos will be numbered, and you will write which ones you want copy of. So there were 3 people in the room at the time of the crime? The victim, Shady Smith, Mr. Wright, and Olga O'Reilly, our witness. And if Mr. Wright isn't the killer, that means... Very well, witness. Oh, hold on. I need a treasure key. Thankfully, I have one just here. No, Fi, the batteries on my Pro controller are not getting low. Okay. Doesn't one of the fighting games have someone called Bad Guy as well? Like KOF or something? Oh, yeah, a juice refill would be great. Oh, thank you. Soul Bad Guy, that's the one. Oh, I haven't even opened the Beppis I have. I was just about to. Guilty Gear, yeah. Crack open a can on 3/16 day, so. Now. But the juice refills would be good for the throat, so I will say please and thank you for that. Yeah. No, Guilty Gear's got oh, I want prongles. No, I don't want to be munching while I'm acting. It gets in the gums and then I'm just like fighting with it. It's not great. It has Bridget. It also has Guitar Lady. I can be as vague as I want with that statement, because they're all great. And Blaze, or is that Blaze, or Blaze Blue has a good one too. Blaze Blue also has Booby Lady, and she's amazing. Biken, yeah, Biken's the best. Oh, I felt like I didn't say Biken immediately because I felt like it's me. That would be too obvious. But yes, Biken is amazing. Biken? I mean, maybe. Anyway, where was I? Very well, witness. My friend recently introduced me to Under Night in Birth. I think I played the demo for that and was whelmed. I didn't get into it. Or was that Melty Blood? One of them had a demo recently, and I played through it, and I was like, this is okay, I guess. Alright, back to the case. Very well, witness. You will testify to the court about that night's events. Okay, that fateful night. Ah, that night, customer asked me to deal cards for game. It was cold. Both players played with hats on, da? The victim, he plays whole time with his hand on locket at his neck. Then, last hand is done, but something terrible has happened, da? That man flew at victim and is strangling him to death. Incidentally, who won the game?
Isn't it obvious? The winner was the victim, Mr. Smith.
Objection!
That's ridiculous. Because Mr. Wright can't lose.
Justice? Maybe you can come up with a more legitimate objection?
But he hadn't lost in 7 years. Take it from me, kid. It happens. I didn't lose a case my first 7 years as a prosecutor either. Incidentally, I have some evidence here. These are the poker chips as they lay at the very moment of the crime. The hand and chips on this side belong to the defendant, Mr. Wright. Those on the far side belong to the victim, Mr. Smith.
Chips, you say?
I mean, yes. Imagine that poker is war. Your hand is your army and the chips are the spoils.
I know that. After all, in my youth I was known as the poker head of courtroom number 3.
I think he means poker face.
Can't beat my, no you can't beat my poker face. Da, 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 da. Sorry. Looking at this picture, it does seem that most of the chips are on the victim's side of the table. Very well. The defense may cross-examine the witness. So, the autopsy says he died from a blow to the head. So, why would he be getting strangled to death? So, I'm going for that first. I'm going for the fucking jugular on that one.
Objection!
Oh, really? Strangled, you say? That's odd. Ah, normal customers only choke on borscht. No! I mean, this report shows that the victim died of a blow to the head. Ah! Miss O'Reilly, really now? Did you witness the crime? Looking at the picture, doesn't seem like he was hit. He's still wearing his hat and everything. Yet, it's a fact that he was hit, Your Honor. Here's a photo we took of the victim with his hat off during our investigation. Well, that's quite shocking, isn't it? This head certainly was hit. Interesting. But I have seen it happen. The defendant, he lunged at victim with his neck. Oh, really, Miss O'Reilly? I think I've caught you in your own lie this time. Justice. I admire your enthusiasm, but perhaps you should think this through once more. What? What do you mean? I found a contradiction. There's one thing in her testimony that troubles me. Very well. It seems we should continue the cross-examination. There's such a thing as thinking too much. This horse is dead. Let's stop beating it. There's such a thing as thinking aloud too much, too. Okay. The victim. He plays whole time with his hand on locket at his neck. But I'm sorry to keep doing this to her, but what locket? Now, hold on. Oh, hold on. He does have a locket in this photo. Staying, hold on. Oh, I can't go into the profiles, huh? Shit. Doesn't hear. Okay. Hey, Monstar, welcome in. Good to see you again. Let's just go with this one.
Objection!
You know, there was one curious part in her testimony, just like Mr. Gavin said. But what does it mean? Mr. Justice, would you care to explain what it is you're thinking so intensely about? How goes the search for justice? So far, so good. Recall the testimony, Your Honor. The victim played with his hand on his locket, with his hand on his hand on locket at his neck, I believe she said.
I hope you aren't about to raise an objection to the witness's grammar.
No, but... It's been so long! We get to say it! We get to say it! No, but look at this photograph! Cancelled? I'm leaving. Oh, come on. It's a staple of our Ace Attorney playthroughs. A staple. Do you see a locket on the victim's neck? Well done, Justice. I'm impressed. I knew you'd be able to handle this. But what does it mean? If we are to believe this witness's testimony as is, then the locket disappeared following the victim's death. Lockets don't just disappear, Your Honor. My Earthworm Jim poster is clinging for dear life on the wall behind me. I'll get it when we go to intermission. It's quite simple when you think about it. If the locket is gone, someone must have taken it off, no? Taken it off? Wait, you don't mean... The defendant wasn't strangling the victim at all. He was taking off his locket. Wouldn't that explain it? Ah! The defendant! What do you have to say to this? Say? Yes? I just noticed this, but... You have something hanging around your neck, don't you? Oh, you mean this? Yes, it's a locket. With a photograph inside. Photo of my daughter.
Come again?
Mr. Wright, you have a daughter?
We confirmed it at the time of the arrest. The picture in the locket is indeed Mr. Wright's daughter.
So, Mr. Wright has a locket too? He's a Hawthorne, I'll be very upset. Why don't I buy that this is just a coincidence? Well now, if the results of this poker game led to the murder, perhaps we should hear a bit more about the outcome of the game.
Further testimony won't really be necessary. It's clear the defendant lost. Badly.
Uh-oh. Miss O'Reilly, you will testify to the court about the game played between the victim and the defendant. Ah. The game began with 3,500 points in chips for each man. House chips come in two sizes, small and large. The one who was winning? It was victim. For the last hand, defendant play with all chips on table and lose. The moment loss was decided, defendant grabs bottle from table and... Indeed. Looking at this picture, it does seem to be a one-sided game.
As the court knows, poker was the defendant's life. Failure must have been a bitter pill to swallow.
How many times have I heard these words? I done it in a fit of anger, Your Honor. Now I regret what I done. Common tale, but true. Methinks the judge watches too many old Nope. Methinks the judge watches too many old court movies. Mr. Wright says he hasn't lost in 7 years, so this testimony must be wrong. Are the chips in this photo all the chips that were used? Of course. Something's fishy with these chips. Could I press harder? Yes. Maybe you could explain a bit about these chips. No worries, Remy. Sleep tight. Thank you for stopping in. Explain? What is there to be explained?
Poker chips are poker chips. They're not fish and chips. Not a chip off the old block. Not a motorcycle cop, not a... Thanks. Now that I've pressed her, I'd better ask something. What are these chips worth? Are they in dollars or rubles even?
Shut up, Ouchie, you're not Fi. Pain. Wait, I'm in pain, not Ouchie. Yet, as I have been saying before, it was game, not gambling. Hard perhaps for capitalists to understand. Oh shit! 2 types of chip. 100-point chip and 1000 points chip. It is not money, da? Justice? Sir! Don't you find her comment interesting? In more ways than one, sir. I'd have it added to her testimony myself. Well, does the defense want the witness to add her testimony? Yeah, I suppose we should. They've gone out of their way to make a big deal of it. Yeah, yes, I do think this deserves further scrutiny. Add it to the testimony. I wish I knew where I was going with this. Very well, witness. If you would be so kind. Your Honor. I feel like... Can I have a look at this? 1400. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. Each man started with 3,500. Yeah, this is weird, right? There's 10,600 points worth of chips on the board. And if both men only started with 3,500, there should only be 7,000 points worth of chips on the board. So why is there 10,600?
Objection!
You're sure? No, sorry. You're sure it was the victim who won? Absolutely sure? I've kind of missed that.
Objection!
I've kind of missed that.
It seems our new attorney is a bit confused. A glance at the picture is enough to tell you who won. If you're not in kindergarten.
Just for safety's sake, could you explain the problem to the court?
Of course, Your Honor. In this photo, I see small chips and I see large chips. Tell me, Which were worth 1,000 points? Why, the big ones, of course. Duh! Oh, yeah, I thought so too, but then the totals don't add up. The totals? Let's review what the witness told us. Each man started with 3,500 points in chips, and the combined total value of the chips was 7,000 points.
Yes. If my calculations are correct, let's see, 3 plus 1, carry the 5.
They are, Your Honor. Now.
Oh, I can't. Oh, no, he didn't say the line. I can't do the thing.
Look at this photo! Look at this photo that allegedly shows all the chips. If the big chips are worth 1,000 points, and the small chips are worth 100, and you add them up, how much is it? Do it yourself. You aren't in kindergarten, are you? 10,600 points. The chips don't add up. This clearly contradicts the witness's testimony. But why? How could this be?
Exactly, Justice. Now you know the what, you must determine the why.
Right. There's only one possible way to explain this contradiction.
Starting points were wrong, chip count was wrong, or both were right. You get that many, though. Both?
Each man began the game with 3,500 points. If all the chips are indeed shown in this photograph, then there can only be one answer.
Well, what is it?
The value of the chips was the other way around. What? Want to know what I think? The small chips were worth 1,000 points, not the big ones. Madness! Utter madness!
Madness. This is... That joke doesn't even work here, but... Show me that photograph of the chips again. There are 6 small chips and 10 large chips. Why, that does make 7,000 points when you add them up. Yes. Excellent work, Justice. It's almost as though you figured it out by yourself.
Well, I'm just glad I was the one who said it. But wait!
There's more!
The value of the chips may be different, but that changes nothing!
Indeed. The victim did have the larger number of chips still. Ah!
Exactly. If the small chips are 1,000 points and the large chips are 100, let's do a little math. Add up the points for each side of the table. Ah!
The victim, Mr. Smith, had 2,900 points, and the defendant had 4,100 points.
Well now. It seems that Mr. Wright was winning that night after all. That's impossible! My client had even less reason to kill the victim. After all, he was winning! Now, Miss O'Reilly, you must have known the true value of the chips, since you were there at the scene of the crime, weren't you? Yeah.
Order! Order! It appears our defendant has lost his motive. And Mr. Wright's supposed defeat never happened. We must now ask ourselves whether... Excuse me? What is it, Miss O'Reilly?
I did not want to be saying this, but actually, you see, See what, Miss O'Reilly? What do we see? In the last hand, there was cheat. Cheat? You don't mean a trick?
Wait. Or do you mean a scam?
They're all the same thing. Yes, but there was cheat in last hand. That is why game ends with chips as they are. Great! That's great. First we have lying, now cheating.
Well, this case certainly has taken a turn. Pretty interesting. Witness, you will please testify to the court. Tell us about this cheating in the final hand. Final hand, eh?
The last hand, both men had a full house. There is 4 of each card in deck, from ace to king. If you look at both men's hand, cheat is more obvious. The next moment, game becomes argument that the defendant's trick was exposed. He took bottle in his hand. Poor Mr. Smith. Miss O'Reilly! Why did you not tell the court about this from the beginning? Yeah. Thought I smelled a cover up here. Well, folks, it's time to throw back the covers.
A full house is a very high-scoring hand. Not easy to make, my experience.
That alone is enough to suspect less than scrupulous tactics.
Mr. Gavin? What's a full house?
Lawyers these days. You don't know your poker.
I can't say this bodes well for your case. Or career.
What is this? Some kind of secret court poker ring?
Justice. You know the terms one pair, two pair, and three of a kind, yes?
Yeah. No problem. Two cards with the same number makes a pair, and three makes three of a kind.
Good. Now picture a hand with one pair and one three of a kind. That's a full house.
Huh. It doesn't sound very easy to make, does it? You can see each player's hand in this photo.
Wow.
They both have full houses.
Yarp?
We forget there's an easy way to make a full house and go undefeated for 7 years. You cheat.
The defense may cross-examine the witness.
If he did cheat in the last hand, that still leaves one important question. Mr. Wright lost that hand. Who's ever heard of a professional con man losing when they cheat?
Okay. So we need to know how the cheat occurred, right? Was that like her third statement? We should probably press on that. The last hand, both men had full house. There is 4 of each card in deck from ace to king. If you look at both men's hands, cheat is more obvious. Okay, how is it more obvious though?
Hold it!
How is it clear? Well, the defendant, he played a 5th ace. A 5th ace? I still remember both hands very well. No, Mr. Smith's... Oh, hold on, was the 3rd king set up? Was the crime scene tampered with? Mr. Smith's hand had 3 aces. And Mr. Wright's 2. Obviously, cheating was afoot. Or perhaps I should say, a hand.
Your Honor, perhaps this can be added to the testimony. Without Mr. Payne's joke. Tumbleweeds, yeah. Yeah. It's off, Payne. Very well. The witness will add this detail to her testimony. Please. Mr. Smith's hand has 3 aces, and Mr. Wright's 2. It is 5 aces in all. Yeah. So we have to present the chip photo here. Because, yeah, as Meg pointed out, he got 3 kings and 2 aces. And Phoenix had 2 aces and 3 sevens. So there is a... something don't add up.
Objection!
It appears the witness is mistaken. Mistaken? With my name? Look, this piece of evidence clearly contradicts what you said in your testimony. That's the photo of the chips, is it not? That was as bad as paper. It was. Justice. Perhaps you ought to explain your point in a way that the judge can comprehend. In other words, use your finger to point out your point. Yes, please point out the contradiction in this photo.
Take that!
Why, it's here, of course. It's... where? Where is that? Oh, come on, I pointed at the 3 kings! Don't stupid hitbox me on this. Where is that you're pointing? Where? Good question. We've already heard today on the dangers of bluffing. Sorry, Your Honor. I'd better rethink this. I think you'd best point out your point again. Okay, well, we didn't get a penalty for it, so that's good. So... that's what I did do.
Take that!
Alright, okay. Fuck me, I guess. Game and its stupid hitboxes. I guess maybe I didn't go for the one in the middle. Maybe I went for the king in the middle of the 3 kings or something, but maybe it needed to be the king closer to the aces or some shit like that. That shouldn't matter. The hitbox for that should just be the hand itself. I hate when the game does that. Hate it. Anyway. Miss O'Reilly, in your testimony you made the following claim. Mr. Smith's hand had 3 aces. But as you can clearly see, the victim's hand only held 2 aces.
Well, maybe the witness was simply confused. Perhaps it was the defendant's hand that held the third ace in question.
Objection!
Take another look at the evidence. As you can see, the defendant also had 2 aces in his hand. Where's this 5th ace? I see cheating all right, and it's going on right here in the courtroom.
Two aces in each player's hand. Does make 4 aces total. Hardly proof of cheating.
Wait, please. It is true. I have seen it. The 5th ace. There was cheating, I swear to you.
Odd.
She must be lying. She must be lying, but yet she's the most sincere I've seen her all day.
You're right to trust your instinct.
Mr. Gavin?
Who knows what lies in store for us in the trial ahead? Your Honor, if I may, I have a suggestion. What might it be, Mr. Gavin? If you don't mind, perhaps we might examine the actual cards? The cards? Mr. Payne?
Yes?
The players' hands that night were set aside as evidence, were they not? The defense would like to request that the cards be shown to the court. Very well. The prosecution will submit this evidence. Which will you examine? The victim's cards or the defendant's cards? Ooh.
Oh. It has to be the victim's cards, right? Because we need to see if he really did have 3 aces. It's probably going to make us do both. I wouldn't be shocked if that's the case, but we'll start with the victim's hand, I think. Now, which of these hands is more suspicious? Victims. It was the victim's hand that changed over the course of the witness's testimony. The defense requests time to examine Mr. Smith's cards.
Very well. Mr. Payne, you would.
Very well.
Well, time's a-wasting. Get to it, Justice.
Yes, sir.
When examining evidence, be sure to view it from all sides and angles. Try using the right stick to turn it every which way, and X and Y to zoom in and out. That should give you a better perspective on the case.
Okay. Let's do this!
Let's do this!
Thank you. What?
Your Honor, look at this. One of the victim's cards. The back is a different color. That's impossible. But I put that card in Right's hand. What was that? So really? No, niet. I merely said that I have. Your Honor. Mr. Gavin. Yes. Tell me, what is the easiest way to cheat at poker? To cheat? I'll tell you. One merely needs a friend. A comrade, shall we say. The dealer. Ah. Wait, so you mean this witness, Miss O'Reilly? He's the cheater. A professional, I'd wager. Order! Order! Focus, Justice. Time to take advantage of her. I mean, of her mistake. Oof. Yeah. Yeah, that line does not make it from 2004 to 2024 in one piece, does it? I get what they were trying to do. Phoenix has a line in one of the earlier games. I can't remember which. Like, I can't remember which character on the stand it's against. But he says something like, time to get to her bottom. Or, I mean, to the bottom of this. So I get what they were trying to do. Oh, but oof. Oof. Hey, Your Honor. Please recall the testimony we just heard. That's impossible. But I put that card in Right's hand. Ergo, Miss Olga O'Reilly conspired to cheat, not with my client, but with the victim, Mr. Shady Smith. Ooh. Oh, this is a good objection theme. Not only did she cheat, she cheated poorly. Therefore, it's not hard to imagine an altercation between her and the victim. What? Oh. Wait, you don't mean... The defense isn't accusing the witness? The defense isn't accusing... Ah! The defense isn't accusing the witness, Miss Olga O'Reilly, are you? Time for justice! There were 3 people in the room at the time of the incident. And if Mr. Wright isn't guilty, that means... I am. The defense accuses the witness, Miss Olga O'Reilly, of murder. Collapse. Mr. Payne, where is your witness, Miss Olga O'Reilly? It appears she has lost, consciousness, Your Honor. Mr. Justice? Your Honor? seems you've presented a new possibility to the court. One suggesting a connection between the witness and the victim, Mr. Shady Smith.
And that means?
This court cannot pronounce a verdict for the defendant at this time.
What?
Did it?
I held out.
I see no point in prolonging the trial this day. The prosecution will need to make further inquiries.
Objection!
Uh-oh.
Mr. Wright!
You can't end the trial here, Your Honor. Not yet.
What nonsense is the defendant spewing now?
Think. One of the cards had a different colored back. Don't you wonder what it means?
What are you doing, Mr. Wright? Raising objections right when you're about to get off the hook. Ridiculous.
Your pain. You of all people should know. Mr. Wright has a talent for the ridiculous. Perhaps we should get to the bottom of things. Let's clear up the facts about the game that fateful night. As was said before, we alternated between two decks of cards that night.
That was said before.
The two decks at the club have different colored backs, blue and red. One color per deck.
Why use different colored backs?
If we use the same color, the two decks might get mixed.
You used different colors and they still got mixed up.
We used the red deck for the last game. I see. But that's odd. For some reason, I have this impression that you were using the blue cards.
Yeah, me too. Sure, someone said something about blue cards. Whatever. In the end, one card of the wrong color got into the mix. Which means there was cheating.
Yes, a card slipped into the deck would seem to indicate cheating. Yet, the card raises two serious questions. Apollo?
Yes?
Let's consider the first question, shall we? Think. In the last game, when was the card swapped? When? There are three broad possibilities here. It could have been swapped before the murder, during the murder, or after the murder.
Oh, well, yeah. Thanks for the news bulletin, Mr. Wright. Of course it was swapped.
Oh. It might be as simple as you think, Mr. Payne. Or it might not be. I'd like to hear what Apollo thinks first. When do you think the cards were swapped? Oh boy. Okay. So. Okay. Was the card swapped after the murder? Can't have. It can't have been before the murder. But then again, the card being swapped is what leads to the argument, which then ends in Shady's death. So. Can't be during the murder. That just makes no sense. Honestly, it like... Unless... You know, you kill the guy and then you swap it out for like an alibi, or you swap it out for a lot of the reasons we've discussed today. But that's like preemptive, right? That puts... Ooh. Oh. Maybe during's not the word. Maybe during's so out of the realm of possibility? Go with after. Perhaps it happened after the murder?
Well, what's that? Ridiculous! What's the point of cheating after the hands have been shown? That's silly.
Objection!
Yes? Yes, but tell me, how do you swap cards during the game? I'll take silly over impossible. Take it from me, son. There's a lot of silly in this world, but very little impossible. Oh? Even when the backs of the cards are a different color? If you pull that during the game, you'd be caught in no time.
Ah. Quite true. That would mean the blue card in question... Oh no, hold on, that's not his voice. Quite true. That would mean the blue card in question was swapped after the hands were shown, after the murder.
Okay, this is going past silly and straight on to crazy. I ask again, what's the point of cheating after the game's over? Who would do that?
True indeed. That's one of the mysteries before us. There's another? Yes, a simple, yet decisive question must be asked. Who swapped the red card for a blue card? Who? The game and murder is done. The victim is dead. Only two remain in the room. Alive, that is. The defendant, Phoenix Wright, and our witness, Olga O'Reilly. Okay. So who was it that swapped the red card for a blue? She said she thought she put the other card into Phoenix's hand. But I feel like that's too obvious. And Phoenix is meant to be an undefeated poker champ for like 7 years. So why would he change the cards if he was winning the game? He had more chips. His cards were presumably correct. So... And because it's Ace Attorney, there's always someone else. So let's go with that. When did Phoenix go get him? Yeah, he is a bit of a hobo right now.
It's 316 on 316 day. Hell yeah. What? What?
The one who swapped the cards wasn't Mr. Right, of course. And, well, it doesn't seem like it could have been Olga O'Reilly either.
What are you suggesting?
That's hardly a logical conclusion, I'll admit. As the defense, I think it only makes sense for you to name Miss O'Reilly at this point. Yeah, yes, I know. But she was the one who dealt the cards, right? I just can't believe she would make the mistake of swapping the wrong color card.
And if the card was swapped during the game, it'd be obvious. Oh.
Okay.
Something you'd like to share with the court, Mr. Wright?
Oh, my apologies, Your Honor. I was just thinking how much fun all this is.
Fun? How about confusing? I've no idea what the defense is claiming, Your Honor. If the one who swapped the card wasn't the defendant, and it wasn't Miss O'Reilly... then who was it?
Yeah, well, that is the question, isn't it? Precisely.
Huh?
I believe we're about to see this case take a new direction.
A new direction?
We'll find that, indeed, after the murder. Someone swapped one of the cards in the victim's hand. That someone made 2 critical mistakes. I'm sure you're going to tell us that the first was swapping the wrong color card. Because the one who did the swap didn't know 2 colors of cards were being used. The other mistake was the number on the card.
Right. The person replaced the 5th ace with a king. I'm sure whoever swapped it wasn't expecting there to be a 5th ace after all. All they knew was that the game had been won with a full house.
So they picked up a king from the table and swapped it in.
But there's one problem. According to our case record, this person doesn't exist.
True. Not until now. But you have to admit the possibility of a 4th person. though it's more than a possibility. There was someone else there that night at the scene of the crime.
Well, what?
I believe the judge spoke truthfully earlier. You do make trials ridiculous, Mr. Wright. This trial has proceeded on one central assumption. Namely, that at the time of the incident, there were only 3 people in that room. I believe this new evidence, shall we say, overturns that assumption. The problem is that you chose to conceal this information from the court. I suppose that is a problem, yes. Court is adjourned for a brief recess. Mr. Gavin, I'll see you in my chambers during this recess. Certainly, Your Honor. Very well. The trial will resume in 20 minutes. Ooh. April 20th, 11:52 a.m. The court, defendant lobby, number 3. Ooh, a quickie during recess. Gavin's the bottom. Or Christoph. Sorry, Gavin is the surname. Oh, that was quite unexpected, Mr. Wright. To suddenly claim there was another person at the scene of the crime like that. You doing the evil thing? Oh, Christoph, are you a bad guy? I must ask, is it the truth? Well now. I think you would know the answer to that. Oh, it was established early on in the case he's not a lawyer anymore. He is a pianist and a professional poker player. So I guess we'll find out the answer to why over the course of this game. Well now. Hey, thank God I thought you said peen. Ah! No, that's it. According to the fandom, he's only playing with Edgeworth's pianist. According to the fandom. I am not. I don't ship it. That's all I'll say. I don't ship it. I'm not a Rightworth person. You know, but if you are, power to you. The memes be good though. True, the memes be good. But I think some people like just drive it into the ground, and that kind of puts me off it as well. I much prefer Phoenix and Franziska, if I'm being blunt. I think Phoenix and Mia is a bit, or Maya even. Mia's dead, so that's never happening. Phoenix and Mia is a bit too, like, unimaginative. Well, I gotta reset here. There we go. Did I corrected myself and then said Mia again? I meant Maya. Phoenix and Maya is too obvious. It's too unimaginative. It's like... Look, it's 3:25 in the morning, right? Cut me some slack. Anyway. Well now. I think you'd know the answer to that. Being mysterious, are we? Sadly, I've no time for mysteries. I'd only ask that you leave the defending to your defense in the future. Meg, did you eat all your prongles already? Tut tut tut. Otherwise, I cannot guarantee the outcome. I see you haven't mellowed out one bit, Kristoff. Justice! Yes, sir! The judge has summoned me to his chambers, so carry on without me. Carry on without me. You did well, Apollo. Can I ask you something? Sure. That locket you wear, is that really yours, Mr. Wright? Ah. You're wondering about the victim's disappearing locket. Here. You can take a look at it. That's a picture of my daughter in there. Oh, she's a cutie! Look at her! I'm just surprised to hear you had a daughter. Most people are. Perhaps you'll meet her one of these days. One more question. The one who cheated that night, was it you? What do you think? Huh? You know what happened 7 years ago? What I did? It's not unreasonable for you to think I might cheat. I never, honest. But it is odd that he managed to go undefeated for 7 years. 7 whole years. Want to know something? There's only one game where you can be dealt bad cards all night and still win. Poker. Huh? You see, poker is all about reading your opponent. In that way, it's a lot like a court case. Poker is like trial law? Figure out what your opponent is thinking, and you win. Well, yeah, but that's harder than it sounds. I think not. Huh? Try as they might to conceal it, everyone reveals their true thoughts in the end. Their body language can become a valuable source of information. You're kidding. That witness, for instance. Miss O'Reilly? She would touch the back of her neck during certain parts of her testimony. Did you notice? No. Come on, who'd notice that? Words, habits, witches. It's all information for the reading. That's the secret to winning, Apollo. Someone taught me, and now I pass the secret on to you.
But I'm not worthy. I mean, there's no way I'll pick up on these signals. No, you can do it.
Huh?
You just don't know it yet.
What's he talking about?
But you will. Soon. Ah, almost forgot. One more thing. About this. You should know. I haven't told the truth to anyone yet.
What?
Knew it! I have my reasons, of course. All shall be revealed. And Apollo, I need you to be there, defending me. I need your power.
My... power? I had no idea my cords of steel were that special.
It's time. The real trial begins now. Do your best. To be continued.